Brad with Brewery. Today I want to talk about American Canning's AT-1 canning machine. We've had this machine for about 8 months. We're really happy with it. I wanted to do a review and show you guys how it all works. We did some modifications to the unit when we got it. We're going to do a separate video to show you guys what we did and how we did that and why we did it. But basically we added this rinser was one of the mods. We actually added two. So we pre-rinse all of our cans and get it ready because this doesn't have a can rinser option. So basically we just kind of pop it in, you rinse the cans, and then we preload everything. And we stage it over here so it's ready to go. You don't have to do this, you could actually rinse on demand, but we find it's a lot easier if we, doing a small run, we just load the cans and pre-rinse them ahead of time. So the first thing we're going to do after we get our cans rinsed is we're going to flush the unit. So we flush it with Sanitizer. We actually have this Sani keg which came with it, and we fill this with ice and Sanitizer. So we add ice that helps prevent the foaming so that you're not getting the cold beer hitting the warm line. So we're going to lock that down in there, and then up here we're going to open compressed fill. We're going to open the fill valve, and then we can walk back here. You can see the Sanitizer coming out. And then we'll come on this side so we can see our flow control valve. So you see this, it's almost like a Perlick faucet valve that they installed in here. It's really nifty. This way you can control the flow. You can put a full blast, or we can dial it down to a trickle. So if the beer is foaming, you can dial it down. If it's you want more speed, you can actually crank it up. So to start with, I usually use this opportunity to go ahead and dial this down to about a medium stream, like about right there. And that's where we're going to start the canning machine at. All right, so now I'm going to go back over here and shut that down. And then the next thing we're going to do is come over here and do a CO2 flush. So we have our CO2 line hooked up to about 10 psi, so we're going to hit CO2 purge. All this is doing is opening your valve, and this is the pre-purge for the CO2. So we're just making sure all the oxygen is purged out of the line and it's flushed with CO2. Okay, we got that done. Now we're going to hook up the hose to our bright tank. So I'm going to disconnect from our cleaning keg. We got this packed with Sanitizer. We're just going to go ahead and connect it up here to our bright tank. Slowly open our brake tank valve. Then we're going to turn on our water. So this is the water pre-rinse that they have on here. You can slow this down, speed it up. So post-rinses the cans. Okay, and now we have to fill our can lids. So to do this is actually really easy. There's this long tube here, slides right out. And you got to keep an eye on this during operation. So when you see your lids getting close to this, there's enough lids in here where you can remove this tube, have time to reload your lids, and keep the machine running so you don't have to stop the machine. It's a really nice feature. So then we usually kind of keep a sleeve of lids sitting up here on top of our boil kettle, in case we have to reload during operation. So if you're only doing like 20 cases, usually you can get enough lids here to do that. You just slide this down the sleeve. I did have one flip on me right there. You got to be careful of that. You set it up on the machine here, guide it down into place. There's a little slot there for your finger. Just drop it down in, it's that easy. Okay, now we're going to start our canning lineup. We're going to hit the fill button. We're going to come around here. So this is the Sanitizer that's left in the line right now. You're going to see that turn to beer. And at first you're going to have a decent amount of foam coming out, depending on how cold the machine is. So we purge a little bit of beer through that. that actually looks pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the fill. We're going to place the first can in here. It's not actually going to fill this can. It's just a placeholder. And now I'm going to hit go. So what it just did is it pre-purged the can prior to that with CO2. It knew the can that was in there wasn't purged, so it did not fill that can. So this can that's being filled right now has already been purged with CO2. Now I have the time cranked up right now to 1300 on the fill time, which means that there's going to be 1300 milliseconds that it's going to continue to push beer through after it hits the sensor. And it usually takes us about 4 cans in order to dial this in. So that was can 1. You see how there was quite a bit of foam in there. Now as this foam starts to die down, we can decrease the time and dial it in so that you're not wasting product. And as the lines chill down, all the pressures equalize and everything, you'll be able to turn up the speed volume 2 in the fill. You already see that actually looked like a very good fill, and that was only can 2. So we usually discard or actually drink the first 4 cans just to make sure. So I am going to turn this up just a little bit. And on this can, you'll probably see pure liquid where there's no foam. Or just a little bit right there. So we're on can 4 right now. I'm going to turn this up a little bit more. We're going to go a little faster. And I'm actually going to start dialing down the fill time so we're not wasting beer product. Alright, so what you just seen there was where we like it, where there's a little bit of foam cap and it just shaves it off and we're not purging excess beer. That's perfect. So you don't want any airspace trapped in there, just a little tiny bit of foam and it shaves it off. There's also underlid gassing. We're getting extremely low DO levels with this machine by doing this filling method. And you can look up here at the screen. We actually turned our fill time all the way to 0. We're doing about 5.1 cans per minute right now. And as we get going, if we're doing a large canning run, we can dial this machine in and go a little bit faster and crank that up. We usually about 6 cans per minute is about the max that we've done. So we feel it's pretty comfortable. If you're by yourself and trying to do this, 3 to 3.5 cans a minute is more of the sweet spot, trying to manage and do everything by yourself. If you have 2 people, you can just let her fly. Hey, this is how simple this machine is. So it spits out the full cans in the middle, and all you do is load your empties right on the outside of this turntable. As you see right there, we're placing a water can right at the end. We just kind of jump it along. What that does, we call it our push can. And the weight of these cans are so light, sometimes it has trouble like actually pushing the cans along into the machine. So this just helps it along. Then what we do is we grab a towel, we pull the cans out one at a time, we dry them off. You don't really have to do this. We like to do it. If you don't have time and you're in a rush, you can, I mean, the labels apply just fine wet, but I like a dry can. It helps with the packaging if you're moving into cardboard. So we take it from here, we're going to put it on our scale, weigh it. We got about 17.6, that's a really full can, and that's what we want. We don't want any airspace in there. I like to have a little bit of foam pocket right on top that we shave off to leave a little bit of space so it doesn't spit back on you when you open the can. But I'm more concerned with the low DO level, so I want it as full as possible. Then we're going to take the can, we're going to put it on our manual labeler here, and this thing is so easy to do. You just basically turn here with one hand, applies the label just like that. We take the can, it's a nice looking label. This is our skinny blonde today. Drop it in our crates here. Then from here we load them on our cart, and if we're going to do some additional packaging and transfer into cardboard, we'll just move over to our table, do that there, or else these we just wheel it right into the cooler, load our walk-in and our display cooler.